Oh, this working from home thing is really getting me, throwing me off my time. Let me get my daytime pajamas on, and I'll be right there. So this is about reviewing factoring of quadratic trinomials. So if you remember, trinomials are three terms. So our first two examples are relatively simple. So to remember trinomial, there's three terms, and now it's equal to 0. So what you want to do, and remember that the general form of any quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. You'll notice that in both of these cases, my a is 1. So this is where we can look and we can say, oh, if a is 1, we can kind of do a little shortcut. We look at what c is, so 20, and we look at what numbers multiply to 20 and then add to this 9. So some people write 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5, right? So some people will list all of them. Some people will know it automatically that it's 4 and 5. And because a is 1, we can skip to the factored form. Now, the trick with this is if I'm solving, then I split this into x plus 4 equals 0 and x plus 5 equals 0 using the zero product property. So I subtract the 4, I subtract the 5, x is both negative 4 and negative 5. Those two results there. The next example, you'll notice I made it a little bit different because it doesn't equal 0. So what I do is I make it equal 0. And now I have the same list, only now it's negative. So when you are dealing with negative results like this, I have to look and say if this is negative, then one of these columns has to be negative. And I look at the sign of my b term. And if it's negative, I know the bigger number has to be negative. And if it's positive, then the bigger number needs to be positive. In this case, I need a negative 8, which comes from a 2 and a negative 10. So when I factor it out, I would write the factored form like this. Negative 2, or negative 10 plus 2 is that negative 8, and I got negative 20. So when I set each one of them equal to 0, I get x is 10 and negative 2. And those are my two results. So signs really matter in this case. Remember that this is the factored, and then this is the solution. You have to actually solve them. The next step requires a little bit more work. When you have the three terms, but now a doesn't equal 1. In this case, a is 3. So my first step that I do is a times c, which in this case is 3 times negative 6. So 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Now I look, okay, what terms of this add up to negative 7? So I start making that list again. 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Well, if this is a negative 7, it means that the bigger number needs to be negative, so that is negative 9. So step 2 is to look for those terms there. Step 3, replace this for b. Replace b. So 3x squared. Now I'm going to say plus 2x minus 9x minus 6 equals 0. Now this drops down, a drops down. The only thing that changes is the b. Now what I do is I factor by grouping. 4 is to group. You group the first two terms and the second two terms, and you look and see what can I take out of this. In this case, I can take out, they both have an x. In the numbers, I can't divide any of those numbers. So I have an x, and then what's left is 3x plus 2. Now, in the second one, do you notice that both of them are negative? So I can factor out a negative. And both numbers are divisible by 3. And when I do that, and I divide both those numbers by negative 3, I get 3x plus 2. These are now the same, so I can combine them to 1. And then these on the outside, the red ones, become another parenthesis. And this is the factored form of this. Now to solve, I just set each one of these equal to 0. So x is 3 in the red case. And x is negative 2/3 in the purple case. And that is just subtracting the 2 and then dividing by the 3. That is the full step of how to do that. The biggest thing is that you carry down the C, you carry down the A. I see a lot of students change this C into 18. You don't want to do that. You just carry the C down. One more example of that. You'll notice that the 5x is on this side. So I'm going to subtract the 5x. And I chose this one because this is my b term. So when I rewrite this, I'm going to write it as 4x squared minus 5x minus 6 equals 0. So I'm going to do all my steps over here. First, I'm going to do 4 times negative 6. I get negative 24. Now I break down the 24. 1 and 24. 2 and 12. 3 and 8. 4 and 6. I see that this b term is negative, so I'm going to make the bigger ones negative. And I'm going to notice that when I add these two numbers together, I get negative 5. So now I'm going to replace. I'm going to replace the b, just the b. So I start off with 4x squared. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 8, I'm going to say minus 8x plus 3x minus 6 equals 0. Now, it doesn't matter which order you put it in. The reason why I chose the 8 is because I know 4 and 8 have something together. Okay, because the next step is I'm factoring by grouping. So when I factor by grouping, I notice that both of them are divisible by 4 and both of them have an x. So, and then inside the parenthesis would be an x minus 2. Inside this, both numbers are divisible by 3. So I'm going to put a plus 3 because in the previous case I had a negative because both were negative. In this case I'm going to put a plus because I need this to match up. So I'm going to just make that positive. And this is going to be x minus 2. And then this equals 0. So now I can combine this into one parenthesis. And I can combine the purple into one parenthesis. And I can solve each separately. and I get my two answers. So this is how you factor quadratic trinomials. Remember, if a is 1, I can just look at the c term. But if a is not 1, if there's a number in front of that x squared, then I have to follow these steps. Thank you, and let me know if you have any questions.